in case those of you that drove up and thought that sign was for Lewis, well, maybe it's partly for Lewis.
Sure.
But Neely's and Lewis were born on the same day, which made it really nice. We never had to wonder where we were going for Lewis's birthday, and most of the time, this is what we do. Mary and Gary Hendricks are two of our dearest friends, and they could not be here. They were here over the weekend. So Mary got the bright idea of the fact that she thought Lewis needed a proclamation from the city.
Oh.
So she made all the arrangements. It was delivered here. And so my friend Jim Hedison has graciously offered to read it for me.
Okay, so there are several people who served on the city commission. This proclamation of the Commission of the City of Marshall, Texas. Whereas Lewis Carroll Jr. is celebrating his 85th birthday on Wednesday, August 15, 2012. That's tomorrow. Whereas Lewis Carroll Jr. grew up in Marshall, attended the University of Texas, has been a lifetime ardent supporter of the University of Texas, and served the country in the armed forces. Whereas Mr. Carroll has a long history as a successful businessman in Marshall, as the owner of the Hub Shoe Store, and whereas Mr. Carroll has been a long-time volunteer and contributor of his time to many civic causes and activities, and whereas Mr. Carroll served many years on the Marshall Planning and Zoning Commission on the Main Street Advisory Board, and whereas Mr. Carroll has been a member of the Marshall Lions Club for most of his adult life, and has served as president of that organization. Whereas Mr. Kariel has been a long-time member of the Marshall Chamber of Commerce and served as president of that organization. Whereas Mr. Kariel has the improvement of Marshall uppermost in his mind, and in all of these capacities he contributed to the development and betterment of Marshall. Whereas the Marshall community owes a debt of gratitude to Lewis Carroll, Jr. for all of his contributions to the community as a businessman and as a volunteer. Now therefore, on the occasion of Lewis Carroll Jr.'s 85th birthday, and in recognition of the accomplishments of Lewis Carroll Jr. as a successful businessman and as an active supporter of the community, the Marshall City Commission wishes to honor Mr. Carroll and express sincere and grateful thanks to him by proclaiming Wednesday, August 15, 2012, Lewis Carroll Day, Lewis Carroll Jr. Day in Marshall, Texas. The City Commission encourages all citizens in recognizing Mr. Carroll and celebrating his accomplishments and his lifetime of services in all aspects of his life on this day. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Marshall to be affixed the 15th day of August 2012, signed Ian Smith III, Mayor, Marshall City Commission, City of Marshall, Texas.
The most wonderful thing about it is having all of our friends here. It wouldn't be a thing without all of you, and I wish that I could get around and say this to each and every one of you, but I love you and so glad to be here today.
Well, we'd like to say that Lewis was on the Planning and Zoning Commission for 50 years. He got more calls during that time than I did during the 10 years I was on the city commission. But he loved every minute of it, and that was really nice. Edward did a good job. I have written many a one of these, and I'm telling you, he covered his bases. He researched. I didn't even help him. But he did a good job, and that was very sweet of him. But I would like to raise my glass. This is what Lewis is drinking these days. So we all drink to his good health, happiness, and good years ahead. And happy birthday. I love you. And I think that they're going around and getting them ordered. I know it's gonna be good. Can you?